What's going on, people, and welcome to the Blue Steel Podcast Show. I'm your co-host LV Live, along with my co-host Jeff. Jeff, what is going on, my man?
Oh man, quick hitter Spence versus Mikey Garcia. Man, talk about a massacre.
Yeah, like 50 Cent's album, The Massacre.
Right, exactly. Man, that was. I mean, go ahead, dog. LB, man, just go ahead, and take it, man. I
All
mean,
right, real quick, before we get into it, people want to thank you for all your support. Thank you for coming through to our show. Please hit the like, share, subscribe button. Please, once again, reach out to us, bluesteelshow@gmail.com, bluesteelshow@gmail.com for any questions, statements, comments that you would like to make. But yeah, like Jeff stated, it's a quick hitter. And we had the mega fight in Dallas. Um, Two of the best pound for pound fighters, probably top 5 pound for pound fighters in the world of boxing today. 39-0, Mikey Garcia versus 24-0, Errol Spence. Oh man, and what did you say, Jeff? You said the massacre.
it was a massacre, man. It was literally. So I mean, we text back and forth. I was like 119, 109. I just gave him the second round just out of sympathy. You know what I mean? But outside of that, it was total domination. It was like Errol Spence is like another level above, clearly, at least one level above Garcia. Obviously, you have the size and weight. Like I said the other day, I didn't see where he could win it. And I mean, it was clearly he had no shot. Errol could have, Spence could have fought with one arm behind his back, and he still would have beat him yesterday. It was total domination. But you made a great point in our show discussion. Please get that to the people. What did you, take it? Give us your take on it.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. This was actually worse than a knockout because what he displayed. I mean, the brutal beatdown he put on him. If Mikey would have got knocked out, right, you could have said, okay, Mikey was a little over aggressive. He kind of, missed his angles, or Spence just caught him with a good shot or a good body shot. If Mikey would have stayed away from those body shots, not been as aggressive, he could have done better in the fight. You can have a whole bunch of excuses, right? But this, you can't make an excuses. Jeff, you said you had 119. What? You had it 119.
109, which is 11-1.
Right. The judges had it. The judges had it 120 to 108. That's basically 12 rounds to nothing.
That's 12, and then one had it. I think 107 to 120. They gave a 10-8 round.
A 10-8 round. That was the round he almost knocked him out. I think it might have been a 10th round. Right. I think it was
the 10th round. Yeah.
It was either 9th or 10th round, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. It was just total domination. I mean, literally, Mikey needs to just go back to 135 and just chill out there. I don't. What do you think about that? What do you think Garcia is like? What do you do to Robert Garcia's camp? That's your brother, your son. What do you tell Mikey? What's your advice for Mikey?
We definitely go back to 135. We don't go to 140. There's too many heavy hitters at 140.
Right.
I think he needs to stay there, just at 135. This was a wake-up call for him. This was a wake-up call because this pretty much made. I mean, he looked pedestrian. He looked like a C-level fighter in there with an A++ guy. I mean,
right.
At least he could have boxed his way. He could have made it competitive, scored on some points. But Jeff, I mean, I don't even have. What was the punch stats, my man? I don't even have it in front of me. What was the punch stats?
It was total 345 out of 1082 for Spence, 75 for Garcia out of 406, which is 18%, which is not good in anything.
Bro, he beat him by like 300 more punches. Do you understand what that means? Like, that's just. It was like sparring in there. He was like sparring with the cat.
Yeah, it was. It was like a sparring. I said that when I was watching. I was like, this is like he's sparring again, just a warm up to fight somebody else in a sparring match. Mikey looked like a deer in headlights. He had nothing. There was a couple of rounds I think between like rounds like 8 and like 10 or 11, he landed like 8 punches in like 4 rounds. That's terrible. So I don't like I agree with you. He needs to go back to 135. I mean, he can't fight Lomachenko.
I mean, Lomachenko's at 135. I mean, is this? I mean, now here's the thing, right? With this performance, are you looking forward to the Lomachenko fight? No.
No, because Lomachenko will be worse. I think.
I don't know. I mean, Mikey was saying in the fight yesterday. He said that Spence punches hard. He felt his power, but it wasn't enough. I think his power was more than enough. I think that's what kept Mikey on the outside. It was that jab.
Right.
That jab solidified things. But as you know, Jeff, in boxing, if a guy can't really hurt you with his punch, you just gonna go get him.
Right.
You're gonna go get him. You're not gonna really kind of stay back because you're losing a fight. So you're gonna put your foot on the gas, right?
Right.
He chose not to do that. You know why? Because he was afraid of getting knocked out. Because he felt the power from the combinations, from the body shots, from that stiff jab. He said, "Okay, you know what? No, I'm not going in there because if I go in there, I'm gonna get hurt."
Right. And that was his only shot to win. You're not going to win on the outside, longer reach, taller, stronger. You got to take the risk of closing that distance and getting inside. He didn't do it, and like you said, too much power. Like, I'm gonna get knocked out. I'm gonna just take my 8 million and go home to California.
Right. That because Jeff, that's why he did it. The whole thing of he punches hard, but not okay. If he punches okay, or if he punches somewhat hard, but not that big of a deal, based on how you kind of made it seem, then you would have went in there and got busy. But you did it because you knew that if he catches me with another shot, I'm gonna be on the floor. Period. End of story. So that's why he kind of tippy-toed in there. He was very, very careful because here's the thing: Spence's jab was keeping a distance, but Spence was hitting with that 1-2. But if the punches weren't legit, if they weren't really, then I know I got to put my foot on the gas. That's what I got to do. But it was telling when it got to that 9th round and Spence was about to knock him out. The dad and the brother was about to throw in the towel.
Yeah, they was like, "Yo, it's over." He's like, "Give me one more."
And I kind of don't agree with that. I understand you want him to go out on his shield, and I get all that whole fighter mentality, but man, you gotta live to fight another day because here's the thing: we don't know. I mean, I hope he's okay today, but we don't know the after effects of that. You know what I mean? The internal bleeding. How many fighters have kind of like, went home and then passed out because they took such a beating. Like, if you see your guys in there, especially a family member, regardless of how he feels, if he's taking a beating in that 9th round, like what it was, he's not going to win the fight. Just say, what, let's end it. Let's end it. Let's end it. Let's stop.
Right.
Because God forbid, next round.
Pride, man.
Right. Next round comes and he hits you with another shot and you ain't coming back from that.
Exactly. That's it. So let's talk about the victor.
So why even risk it?
What's next for the true Errol Spence? What do you think?
I mean, you know who's next. It's like what I told you. It's Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
July.
It's in July.
Listen, Porter was up there looking like a leprechaun.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, he lost out on his opportunity.
Right.
I'm sorry, man. He was, Jeff. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he did.
And then Jeff, none of the greens matched. Like all the greens were off.
I know. The dark green and the light green jacket. Like, what is that?
He looked
bro, you got money. You just want to fight. Make everything custom match. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
He looked like a Jolly Rancher, man.
He looked. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you, man. Pac-Man, he didn't seem real enthused for the fight, but it's a $15-20 million fight apiece. Pay-per-view. I'm very interested to see the buys for this pay-per-view fight as well. Hopefully, it's in like the 400,000 range, at least 500,000. Hopefully, but that's an easy fight to make. It's PBC again.
Right.
He's with PBC now, so which basically makes you kind of a free agent, and you don't have a promoter telling you what to do. So it's going to make the most money. Floyd and him, man, I don't even want to see that like we talked about before. So hopefully that's the next fight, and then TC got to fight somebody, man. And then like I said, next year that's the fight I want to see. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we'll touch on that in 1 second, but I want to get back to the point you made about Floyd. Yeah, Floyd's not fighting him, but this was the passing of the guard. If you notice, Floyd was in the ring right before when Spence made his entrance. He gave Floyd a hug in the ring. This was the passing of the torch. That's what this was. Floyd was there because remember, Floyd is Al Heyman. Al Heyman is Floyd's guy.
Yeah.
So, Floyd said all these cats up with Al Heyman. So you can understand, this was basically him saying, all right, look, I got my money. I'm good. But this is the next guy. So Al, take care of him. I'm going to help him out the best way I can behind the scenes, of course. But this is the passing of the torch, man. That's what this was. Yeah. Especially with that showing last night, Jeff. Jeff, everything is going through Dallas. With that showing, how much was it? 47,000 people there last night?
Yep, third largest crowd in Dallas. Yep.
Bro.
And if you fight Pac-Man, they'll break the record.
Bro, he has solidified himself as a pay-per-view star right now.
You got to see the numbers first. I'm not gonna give him that. Obviously, this is the first one. You got to have a first one,
right,
to kind of build from. So that's why I said I'm hoping the numbers is like 400, 500,000. Because when you have Manny, it's gonna go over 1 million at that point, and then you just go from there. And then you're the pay-per-view star, like you said, and then sets up the fight. You talked about the other day, a couple years from now, with the redhead from Mexico. Later, a couple years from now, after he cleans out the division. So,
right.
It's a really good showing. I would have liked it. There was a couple. Not to be too critical of Spence, but I just thought that he could have been a little sharper. Looking at his jab stats, he only landed 17% of his jabs. Which sometimes you just throwing jabs to keep the distance, get a measuring tool, But I'd like to see that percentage higher. Power shots, he's over 50%, which is great. So, but again, he knew there was he after the second round, he knew there was no shot that this guy was going to hurt him. So he's just toying with him, like you said before. And, just basically saying, I'm going to just beat this dude up a little bit, I'm going to just show everybody that I got the better skill set. I got better fit speed, which is what people were saying he didn't have, which is ridiculous.
Right.
Mikey was better than him as,
Right.
That's a whole. I personally, I think that's a racial thing.
Right.
To me, you know what I mean. A lot of that has racial tones in it. I don't know all the people that said it, but a lot of that is like, just be crazy. Like you said, this guy's an Olympian. This guy has been in the Olympics. He ain't just some dude who picked up boxing at 24 years old and fighting all his life. So he's no joke, as he showed. So anyway.
Nah, Jeff, you make a great point. I will have to disagree with you here. I thought his jab was electric. You got to understand, this is where, believe it or not, you got to give Mikey some credit because he is considered to be an A-level fighter. So it's not going to be that easy to hit him. I mean, you got to kind of weigh it out. You got to kind of give Mikey some credit for bobbing and weaving. Spence took advantage of every opportunity that Mikey gave him. Some Mikey didn't give him, and Mikey wasn't going to make it easy, which we didn't expect. But
right.
Spence took what he gave, and he made the most of everything. I mean, Jeff, this honestly, the beating that he gave him, I mean, on the technical side, I mean, this is the closest thing, like I said to you before we got on air, this is the closest thing I've seen to a one-sided domination. This might be close, to Floyd and Gotti. This might be close to that.
Right. And it's funny when you started saying that. I think we got spoiled because Floyd connected at such a high rate. He's such a tactician in there, in the ring, outside the ring, whatever. But in the ring, Floyd, his percentages were so great, like ridiculously great. It's hard to, we kind of got spoiled by that over the last 10, 15 years. So his numbers aren't horrible. Like I said, I just want, because I think Spence has the opportunity to be in that league, like one of the greats. of the welterweight division. So I just like to see that percentage. I would definitely give Garcia some credit, but ultimately it's a great fight for Spence. I mean, if you're criticizing that, I'm just trying to find something to say, if anything. But he
Not,
dominated.
yeah. I mean, but now, uh, we got to turn to, like you said, what the future holds. I think he dominates Pacquiao. I think last night was 47,000. Yo, man, with Pacquiao, they might get maybe double that or something close to it. They might get maybe about 70,000, 67,000 people, maybe even 80,000, because Pacquiao sells out.
Right.
His name is cachet, and with this performance that Spence just did, I mean, he's becoming a well renowned star now, maybe second to Canelo. So I mean, Spence just has the it quality, man. He's got the looks, he's got the southern charm. He's he's got American royalty in boxing, is what I mean. Like, he
Right.
came up in the amateurs. He was a great amateur fighter. Then he became an Olympian. He's very similar to Andre Ward. He's very similar to Floyd Mayweather. Like, those guys were great amateur fighters and they became Olympians. It's very, very, I'm gonna say it again. It's very, very hard to make the Olympic team. The Olympic trials, what they put you through, is
Yep.
extremely hard. So when you make an Olympic team, that's a huge accomplishment. So when you come in decorated as a fighter. So with him having that background and that pedigree, and him kind of having the look in the face and having that quote unquote boxing royalty stamp of Olympian, Dallas, Texas, made big city in America, good looking, Southern charm. He's the it factor, man. I mean, they are really pushing him to that pedestal, Jeff.
Yeah. He deserves it. It's well deserved, man. He's put his time in. The sky's the limit for him. Just stay focused for him. That's it.
So,
That's it.
Jeff, so for the other welterweights, I mean, for me, I think the best fight for him at welterweight, who would serve the biggest problem, I think, my opinion, I think it's Keith Thurman. I don't think it's Terrence Crawford. I think what showed last night, what this showed, was that he's got a lot more tools in the bag than what people thought.
Yeah.
And he's going to give Crawford some problems, because I don't know if Crawford can deal with the type of boxer that Spence is and with the type of power puncher that he is. Spence showed last night, which we all knew, we just never saw it, how many, he's got levels to this, man. He's got levels to this. Crawford is known as a boxer, but he's not a boxer puncher. Spence is both.
Yeah. I think I don't know if I agree with that. Way Thurman looked on his last fight. I mean, obviously, I get some ring rust off. But here's the thing: Crawford's not a puncher in terms, he's a little smaller, but he's a brawler. That dude is like a thug. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to use that terminology, but in the ring he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't gonna do like Mikey. It ain't gonna be no fight like that. He's smaller, but he gonna come at you. There ain't gonna be no fight 12 rounds where TC hits 70, throws 70, spent 75 times. He's gonna go at it. He's gonna leave everything in the ring, which is why I think it would make a really good fight in terms of just their styles.
Right.
To me, that's the best fight for him. I just don't know who TC is gonna fight to get an opportunity to fight Spence. Like,
right.
Who's he fighting in their top rank? Has nobody for him to fight except some B, C class fighters. So who's he gonna fight to even deserve a shot outside of being? We know he has a skill level. They had TC ranked on ESPN as the second best pound for pound in the world.
On what? On what channel?
On ESPN.
Come on, Jeff. You can't even use that. He's an ESPN fighter.
Well, no, I mean, but it's done by it's a composite of different people of their writers and stuff, which may have some validity to it. But regardless, they had spent six.
Of course they did.
I just don't see where. I don't think there's as bias as a lot of places, but regardless, I don't see how he's gonna. Who's he fighting to lay claim to? Like, I deserve a fight with Spence.
Right.
At this point, because Spence is going. He's gonna fight Pacquiao. He'll probably fight Thurman. He'll fight the Leprechaun from last night. He's gonna fight all these cats,
right.
And he's gonna fight Porter. So after that, it's like, why do I have to go through this gauntlet of fighters? Who have you fought? If I'm him, I'm moving on to another division at that point. I don't need you,
Right.
you know. So
Well,
that's all.
I agree. In order for him to clean out the division, right? He's gonna most likely he's gonna fight Pacquiao next because the reason why Pacquiao's gonna take the fight, he might not be too reluctant, but it's too much of a cash cow. It's a grab.
It's the biggest fight for him.
Right. It's the biggest fight for him money wise, so he's gonna take it. Um, so that's gonna leave the opening for Sean Porter and Keith Thurman again, which I believe will happen. Whoever wins that fight, Spence will fight next, and because that person will have two belts.
Oh,
So
that's right. Yeah.
Spence will be able to fight, and then because of Spence's money pull and money grab, it's going to go through Dallas again. So Spence will be the A side in that because he's the money side, you know.
Right.
But he beats that guy. He has all three belts. Bob Arum, and I'm just gonna say Bob Arum. He's not gonna have a choice but to fold and say, all right, let's make this fight happen. We'll try to negotiate, but we really got to go with whatever Spence wants. But I honestly don't see Bob Arum doing that. I mean, he's gonna have to do it, but will he do it? I don't think so. And this is why people always felt that Crawford should have never signed with Top Rank, because look, he got $3.5 million guaranteed, right, from every fight, right? Spence
right.
just earned $8 million last night.
Plus pay-per-view, whatever.
Plus, he didn't even get that bread yet. So he might make upwards to about $10 to $12 million altogether for that fight. And so this is what PBC can bring you. This could be Terrence Crawford doing this right now. Because we could be talking about Terrence Crawford against Keith Thurman next in Dallas, right? Pay-per-view. Right. We could be talking about that if Crawford was with PBC making $6-7 million a fight. But he chose to take that $3.5 million, which is chump change. Because you got to bet on yourself, Jeff. And what Floyd taught those guys is that, yo, man, if I feel my worth is this, then I'm going to do that because I'm the one in the ring taking all the risk. So why not dictate my future in regards to what happens in that ring? And I think that's where Crawford fell short. And so now he's going to have to eat crow because Spence ain't going to fold. You crazy? Now he's seeing the checks. You think he going to listen to Bob Arum talking some nonsense about 50-50, we going to give you half, and he going to be like, you bugging. Ain't no way, Jeff. There's no way that he's going to take that, and there's no way he's going to fall back and say, all right, Arum, I'll listen to what you have to say, and, we'll try to make it work with Terrence, and,
Spence doesn't need TC for a legacy. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. He doesn't even have to talk. If Thurman and Porter fight, the winner goes in. It's the Facto tournament. He beats Pacquiao. Whoever he fights, he beats. He doesn't need TC for his legacy to me, because he's already beaten pretty much every top welterweight of his generation. He's beat them all, except for whoever loses, Thurman and Spence. So he doesn't need them, ultimately. So he has to come in with the upper hand, and if not, I can move up and fight Canelo. I'll make $30 million. I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going to know who TC is in the mainstream at that point, because who's he fought. Ultimately, it's a bad move, like you said, for TC, man. It's not a good move for him at all. So you'll see that in a year or two.
Yeah,
especially
Jeff,
if that plays out that way.
Yeah. Jeff, he should have never signed that contract, Jeff.
Yep. So
because he's getting blackballed. Like, they're not dealing with him, but not because they don't like him. Because they've all said they think he's a great fighter. They've all said that. They was like, Terrence Crawford is the truth. He's legit. I'm a big fan of Terrence Crawford. But we not dealing with Bob Arum. We just not dealing with him. And I mean, that's just I mean, to me, that's kind of like what has hurt Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion, man. But yeah, man. So listen, people, thank you for coming through the show. It's a quick hitter. Actually, we went a little bit longer than expected, but it was such a big fight last night. So many things we wanted to touch on. But yeah, thank you for coming through. Hey, Jeff, good job, my man.
Absolutely, man. And don't forget YouTube Blue Steel Show. Hit the bell icon so every time we put something up, you'll get a notification. Instagram Blue Steel Show and Twitter at Show Steel, and always the email bluesteelshow@gmail.com. So great job, brother.
Yo, my man, I'm gonna holler at you, brother.
Talk to you soon, bro.
All right, man.
Yeah.